Okay, Algebra 2, so what I'm going to be doing is going over number 3 and from your worksheet, from the day 3 worksheet, solving and graphing nonlinear systems. Okay, so this is a problem that looks very similar to it, but it's not the same, but I'm showing you kind of a possible way you could go about it. Now there's actually different ways you can do this. This is just a way that I found that works for me. Okay, now first of all, you're going to recognize this first equation is a circle, because you see an x and squared, and a y and another square, so you see that's a circle. And they're on the same side of the equal sign as well, so that's another giveaway. Okay, so you're going to see the center as, again, x is a liar, and y is a liar when it's inside parentheses like that. So it's going to be positive 3 and positive 3. So we're just going to put that on the graph, 3 and 3. Okay, now we get the radius from the number on the other side. Okay, and we take the square root of that, which is just 1. So then we just go 1 up, 1 right, 1 down, 1 left, and make the best circle you can. Okay? Okay, now for the next equation, we'll recognize that that's a quadratic, a parabola. So that's vertex form. So I can get the vertex from inside here. That x is a liar, so it's positive 3. And then we get 4. So I'll graph that, 3 and 4. Boom, there's already a solution, because remember, we're looking for wherever these two graphs actually touch, or where they intersect. Okay? So there's one solution already. But now I need to graph more points, right? So to graph this, let's just make a table. Okay, so I'm starting here in the middle. Now let's draw axis of symmetry. Because I know if I get points on the left, they'll be the same on the right. Okay, so the first x value here in the middle is 3. So what I'm going to do is find the x value here at 2. So first of all, we have 3 and 4. I'm going to put that right here. I'm going to do 2, which is right above. If I plug in 2 here, I get 2 minus 3. Remember, negative out here. 2 minus 3 is minus 1. Okay, then minus 1 squared, but there's still a negative out here, so it's still minus 1. Plus 4 is 3. So that's 3. So 2 and 3. But I know if that's a point, with a parabola, that's a point as well. Okay, so I'm going to go now one more x value over at 1. Okay, I'm going to plug in 1, just like we did with the other. Okay, so now 1 minus 3. Okay, 1 minus 3 minus 2. Don't forget the negative. Okay, minus 2 squared is 4, but still negative again. Okay, now negative 4 plus 4, 0. So 1, 0. So 1 and 0. Okay, and then I reflect it over to the other side of the axis of symmetry, and there is 5 points to complete my parabola. Okay, make a nice little U. Okay, and there's my graph. Now you'll notice I didn't really need those points to find the solution, because once I got those 3 points, those are my solutions right there. Okay, so my first solution, I'm going to have, what is that? 3 and 4, same as the vertex of the parabola. Then I'm going to have this point, 2 and 3. Okay, then we'll have 4 and 3. Okay, and there's our solutions after graph. Okay, so that's graphically. Now what we want to do is take these equations and solve it algebraically. Okay, so that'll be the next one. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, again, solving this out with algebra. Okay, now the nice thing is we already graphed it, right? So now I already know what the solutions are, so as I go through this, I can make sure that I'm doing it right by referring back to what we already found. Okay, or again, you can find that on Desmos if you're doing it the other way. Okay. So now what I'm thinking is that there's a lot of there's factors and there's parentheses. So what I'm going to do is kind of simplify all that out. We're going to just expand all this out and simplify everything there. So I'm going to first take the circle equation. Okay, now that's x minus 3 squared, so that's going to be x minus 3 twice. And the same thing with the y minus 3 twice. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and span this out. Okay, that's the first one. This will be y squared minus 6x plus 9 equals 1. Now we're going to combine, oops, sorry, that's not an x, it's a y. Okay, it's important, make sure you separate the y's and the x's. Okay, So now I'm looking at it, there's really not much I can combine except maybe this 9 and 9. Because those are like terms. Okay, so then I have plus 18. All right, so we're there. Now what I noticed too is that I'm gonna go ahead and, well first I'm gonna go ahead and simplify this as well, okay? So over here. Now what's important is don't forget the y. Don't forget any part of the equation here, okay? So we're gonna need to remember that. Okay, so I'm gonna expand this out. Don't forget that minus in the front. Okay. Now we'll distribute the minus. Okay, so these all change signs. It becomes plus, this becomes minus. Then I have plus 4. Don't forget the y, like I almost did. All right, so now y equals negative x squared plus 6x, negative 9 and 4 minus 5. Okay, so now I've got these two equations. I've kind of simplified them out. And now what I'm thinking is, well, I noticed that this has an x squared, this has an x squared, this has a 6x, this has a 6x. So what I'm going to try to do is eliminate. Okay, so I'm going to use elimination. So really what I'm going to do is just take this equation over here and put it right underneath. So negative x squared, okay, and actually, you know, before I do that, if you notice the y's are all on one side, right? But over here, the y is on the other side, okay? So what I'm actually going to do is take this y and move it over here. I'm going to subtract it from both sides. Okay, so now it's just equal to 0. Because remember, when you eliminate, you want everything on the same side of the equal sign. Okay, now, again, x squared goes there. The 6x, right under that 6x, and it's plus. Okay, then minus 5, just as long as that's underneath one of the constants on the same side, and don't forget there's a 1 here. Okay, and then we have minus y, so that would go under here under the 6, minus 1y. Okay, so the nice thing is with elimination, again, is that we're trying to eliminate one of the variables. And guess what? The x squared eliminates. Also, the x eliminates. Okay, so now, as you notice, all we have is y on this side now. Now, you're wondering, well, what about the equal sign here? Well, again, we equaled it to 0 here, so 0 goes there. Okay? So let's put that under that. Now let's just add up our equations. Now we'll have y squared, negative 6, negative 1, minus 7y, 18 minus 5, that's going to be positive 13, 1 plus 0, 1. Okay, now I notice I have a quadratic, but it's just with y. So I'm going to set that equal to 0 to solve. So minus 1, squared, minus 7y, plus 12. Now that looks doable. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take that off to the side here. Okay, now I have y squared minus 7y plus 12 equals 0. Now I recognize that I can factor that. Y minus 4y minus 3. And then our solution for y is 4 and y is 3. But we're not done there, because remember when we were looking for solutions, x and y, right? Now if you notice that I got y is 4, y is 3, so I'm on the right track. There's a 4, there's a 3. Okay, but let's start with the y is equal to 4. I'm going to use, let's start with this equation here. Okay, what I do is I just kind of moved over to the other side of the board. Here's that second equation. And basically I'm going to use y minus 4. First, I'm going to plug that in, so that goes here. Okay, now I'm going to need to expand all this out, but guess what? I already did that. That's over here. I expanded it out, let's say, right here at this step. Okay, where I've got y is equal to, and we'll just simplify that, negative 9 plus 4, which is minus 5. So I've already expanded it out. So then what I'm going to do is just use that same equation. Okay, that way I don't have to work it out all over again. Okay, so now minus x plus 6x minus 5. Okay, now what I want to do is set that equal to 0 again, factor it just like we did here. So minus 4 equals to 0. Okay, minus 9. Now there's a negative here, so I like to factor out negatives whenever I have one in the front. Okay, so I get negative in the front. Now it'll be x minus 3, x minus 3. So that means I'm going to have the same solution here, just x equals 3 for 4. So that means there's only one solution for y equals 4, 3, 4, which follows what we have. We only have one solution for y equals 4. Okay, so now we'll do the same thing for the 0. Sorry, for the 3, not the 0. Okay. Okay, so now we'll put 3 out there. And again, you guys know you can kind of use your shortcuts and jump ahead. You don't have to do every little tiny step. Okay, so minus 3. I'm just kind of working it all out step by step to kind of show you guys here. I know I'm off the screen here, but you can see me writing still. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to take out that negative again. That becomes x squared minus 6x plus 8. Factor that again. Okay, now let's see, 4 and 2 make 6, so we'll do minus 4 minus 2. Okay, so that means we have x equals 4 and x equals 2. So for y equals 3, we have two solutions. We have y 4 and 3, and then we have 2 and 3, which again follows what we just found over there. All right, that's it.